wish there was a countdown.
You could do one.
What, like 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is up? Here's the bling. Here we go this week. We are going to be talking about some news. Got some interesting statistics to share. We have a product review, and we got some classes.
Do we? We have classes?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my notes.
You trying to find your notes?
There we are. There's my notes. Sorry. It's hard when you're writing Crayola.
So what you got
Do you want to
for
go
us?
to news?
What news you got for us?
I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit from what we did over on Facebook. Guys, it's show season. The show seasons have kicked off. We're moving full into 2024. Education. The biggest show that we're excited and apprehensive and everything else about is ABS. ABS is coming up in end of April, Eddie?
April, what is it? The 20th through the 22nd?
I believe so. Yeah. So ABS, we can definitely confirm we will have a booth. We're going to have a classroom, classes going pretty much throughout the whole day from all the different products that we have. I think the biggest thing that just to connect with what we did last week too is that education is really important, but with the shenanigans that's going on with the state board these days, make sure you get your hours, guys. Totally make sure you get your hours.
They've officially put a task force together, and they're going after hairdressers. They are actively going after hairdressers. There's been a lot of stylists that have been calling me and letting me know that they've been getting cease and desist orders. So they're going after legally. And we've been scrambling to try to help people as much as we can, but it's scary. You know, it's scary stuff, but it's avoidable. Okay. Make sure your paperwork is in order. Make sure your licensing is in order. Make sure your hours are in order. And if you're not sure, contact your local village, contact the local city, the county, and reach out to the state board as well too directly, you know, down in Springfield. Be proactive about it. Don't be reactive. Be proactive about it.
I like
because
that.
it's the only way you're going to stay on top of it and stay ahead.
Yep. They should, you know, because if you get audited or they show up, you know, because I guess they put a task force together now.
Yeah.
For a lot of they're really tearing after independence. And there's from what I understand, there are independents out there that never renewed their license and never even got business licenses, which is bad juju across the board. But I think that's a subject for another day. And here's the fun one. Okay. Here's the fun one. 1 in 3 Americans view their stylist as one of their therapists. And there's a new term that they're using. Okay. And it's called psychotherapy. That's right. Psychotherapy. And a study revealed, no, seriously, it was a study that was done. It was a study that was, hey, come on, bear with me. Tom's like, see, when you laugh, I laugh, and you make this hard.
Come on, man. Who comes up with these things though?
You know, what they did is they polled a whole bunch of stylists, and 55% of them, the stylists, felt like that not only were they giving their clients amazing looks and amazing hair, they were also felt like that they were also giving them emotional support. And clients actually agreed that a lot of times they get great hair, but they feel very fulfilled by sitting and talking with their stylist.
So then like a psychologist, when the hour is up and I'm done talking to the client, can I be like, nice breakthrough, hold that thought, we'll continue this next time?
Well, we actually, but if you really think about it, but if you actually think about it, we kind of do that, right?
We do.
oh yeah, I'm done with your blow dry. Or, depending on,
There. That's nice. Hug it out.
okay, we'll talk again in 6 weeks.
Oh man, psychotherapy. So how do I get
Psycho.
a certificate for this? How do I start
Well,
charging for this?
I think that's a business venture for us. but
Man.
the but the problem being is you forget I worked next to you for a little while, and
Hey, I give amazing advice. I give a phenomenal advice. People feel liberated after listening to my advice. Let me tell you.
yeah, when they go sit in their car and cry for 30 minutes before they drive home.
Best cry ever. It's fully released. It's fully all tension, all stress, all hatred, all love, all anything released.
But you know what? This kind of touches on what we're. You kill me. This touches on what we were talking about, a little bit of what we were talking about last week, and that's perceived value of our services, and actually being supportive of your clients, and you can't help but not at least talk things out with them, because you're both captive audiences of each other, and they start hitting you with problems and stuff like that. You can't just go while in the back of my head I'm watching the movie that I watched last night again. You can't do that. You have to, but it goes right in with that. There is a perceived value with our services, and that's why we cannot be afraid to charge, because technically we are giving them some form of therapy. They get to sit down with someone that's not family, that has zero skin in the game, and who can actually give them an objective point of view if you want to. There are other subjects that you don't touch. We all know that. We won't get into that. But point being is there's just that. Don't be afraid. We provide a multi-level service. That's why we charge the prices we charge. Or am I oversimplifying that?
We are touching people when we're doing their hair.
Right.
There is no personal bubble. We are literally working on top of somebody. So that connection, that physical connection, it becomes a form of intimacy, both physically, both emotionally, psychologically. That attachment is, everything minus sexually. That's really how close we get with somebody. So that connection that somebody feels is a very strong and very serious connection. And I make jokes and I goof off about it, but in classes, I get really serious about this all the time. I goof off with it and I'm having fun with it, yeah, sure. But you, respectfully speaking, you got to take that seriously. You can't take that lightheartedly. You are literally holding somebody's self-confidence in the palm of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do them wrong, whether you mess it up their hair, you're going to crush their self-confidence, because when they look themselves in the mirror and they don't like what they see, they're not going to feel good. That's not right. Even if you make them look like $1,000,000, if you don't treat them nicely, when they leave your chair and they're crying, who cares how good your color came out, how good the hair extensions or the haircut or the style looks? You made the person feel like crap, right? So that's not respectful either. Then that's not a good job either.
Right.
So yeah, I follow what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you really got to take that seriously. There's always been the joke, oh, you lie to your boyfriend, you lie to your husband, you lie to your priest, but you can't lie to your hairdresser. The hairdresser is the only other person that's taking all your secrets to the grave alongside you.
Right.
There's those stereotypes and there's those sayings for a reason. They exist for a reason, So it's the fact that it's become such a thing now that it actually has a term. But that's what's mind-blowing to me. That's what I'm laughing about it.
Right.
Because it's wild.
Just remember this. It's psychotherapy.
Why psycho? Why they got to use the word psycho?
Well, because it's psychological. It's about, you go to,
It's just about
when
it's
you're,
about being mental. That's all I get out of it. Psycho equal mental.
well,
And then I'll use Darren's joke. Like so with hair extensions, we always say like hair extension clients are crazy, but the stylist that performs the hair extension services is crazier. So then us, the distributors selling to the stylist, got to be the craziest,
right,
right?
right.
So
Yeah,
that's where I take the mental.
that's awesome.
You come into this industry because you can't be normal. You got to be an abnormal
No,
person to be attracted to the beauty industry.
one way or another. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So, and my last bit of news for us
Mm,
on this Friday, um, and it's about hair loss.
mm.
So I'm gonna hit you with some numbers. You ready? Hair loss in 2023.
2023.
Okay, and this is industry wide. This is not just products. This is hair pieces. This is toupees. This is, hair loss. The full encompassed industry of hair loss was a $52.37 billion industry.
52.37. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Now we're talking
now
some
you're
numbers.
well. Just wait. Okay, just wait. It's forecasted that by 2030, so that's what,
Okay.
how many years from now? We're
6.
2020, 6 years. 6 years. I can't do math. That's why I became a hairdresser. It's not because I was crazy, it's just because I couldn't do math. By 2030, that industry will have grown to an $88.18 billion industry with an estimated, so in between
Wow. So a
now,
$36 billion increase.
yeah, so what they're forecasting is basically about a 6 to 7% increase in the industry each year.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
and that encompasses products, that encompasses treatments, that encompasses, like I said, hair club for men. What?
Hey, look, you laugh, but look, hair loss is shedding, alopecia, all forms of alopecia, balding, genetics, trauma. I mean, post surgery, post pregnancy,
Yep.
post treatments, cancerous treatments, unfortunately. But I always say this wrong, right? But fortunately, they survive the treatments. Right? Unfortunately, they survive the treatments. Fortunately, they survive the
Or
treatments.
why not just say they survived
They
they
survive the
survived.
treatments, right? So it's a good thing. But unfortunately, the body goes through such a shock that the hair falls out. So hair loss is a large category
Right,
of problems, of issues.
right,
So
right.
that's a
But think about,
huge market, man. That's a huge market.
and we all deal with it though. We all deal with it. I have clients. You have clients come in, like, there's so much hair in my brush, and there's so many reasons for that. And if it's not glaringly obvious, at least personally, I always say, have you talked to your doctor about this or gone to your dermatologist? Because I mean, I may play one on TV, but I'm not a doctor. There's certain
Hey,
things that you can.
I watch House for all, what was it, 7, 8 seasons? I know some stuff, okay? It's never lupus.
It's never lupus.
It's never lupus.
And what, you take Vicodin like it's candy, like House.
I don't know how. I never understood how he got a hold of so much of it, but man.
But yeah. So hair loss, but there is things, and to put a cap on the whole thing, there are things that we can put into our clients' hands to help them overcome some of these situations, which I know we're going to get into in just a little bit. So with that's our news and notes for this week. I am going to give the reins back to you for your psycho rant, because I can see it brewing in your eyes.
No, last week we were talking about statistics
Hmm.
in the industry about the
Hmm.
services.
Right.
And it made me so upset that I even wrote a whole article about it and I posted it too. And then I was talking to Bernard about it on the Profitable Stylist Academy. And then I've been talking to Darren about it. I want to create a class about this. Like it's really bothering me. I can't let it go. I just can't drop it. One of the things that I've come to terms with though is the positive. So like forget the negative side of it. I'm over it. I did my complaining last week. There's a lot of positives to this. There's a lot of positives to this. I think hairstylists kind of get caught up in the client to client, get caught up in their schedule too much. And they just start becoming on autopilot. And they're just trying to get through the day and trying to stay on time. This fear of trying to stay on time every time for every single person is a mind-blowing thing. Last night, just to give you an example, last night, my 5:15 called at 5:30 and said she's running 10 minutes behind for her appointment. The front desk was like, well, you're not running 10 minutes behind. You're running now almost 45 minutes behind because your appointment was at 5:15. She goes, oh, no, I had it at 5:30 in my book. She goes, well, I don't care what you had in your book. Your appointment was at 5:15. So, and Eddie he's booked, so like, I don't know what to tell you. So my client had the good sense. The front desk was having a hard time. Last night was rough. So she was having a hard time. So she's just like, I've had it with everybody. I don't care anymore, right? And she wasn't being reasonable. The client had the good sense to say, well, do you mind asking Eddie if it's okay if I still come in? Because sometimes he'll do it. She's like, fine, hold on. Now I'm hearing all of this from my station. The desk side of things, not obviously what the client said. But then, she comes over and she goes, this is what the client said. Okay, fine. And here's me. Because now I got a client in my chair. So I'm in the middle of working on somebody and here's the desk telling me, and she's aggravated. So she's annoyingly saying that the client is an idiot in front of another client. So here's me. I'm like, it's fine. I run late on her sometimes too. She runs late on me. She's just as airheaded as I am when it comes to keeping track of time. Tell her just come over, no worries. So then as she starts walking away, the client sitting in the chair goes, you really are airheaded about telling time. And I make a joke about it too. I'm like, yeah, She goes, but at least you're always on top of it. At least you always get everything taken care of. I'm like, that I do. Spin it into a positive, right? Okay. Right. She shows up at 5:45. I have a 6 o'clock. It usually takes me 30, almost 40 minutes to do her hair. There's no way I'm going to be on time for my 6 o'clock. And now that's all messed up. The client in my chair, her timer is going to go off. What am I going to do? We don't have shampoo help. Shampoo help didn't show up yesterday either. So it's like, okay, you see how this is starting to develop, right?
Yeah.
Sit her down and I go, okay, what are we doing on you? Now I'm starting to do a consultation. She goes, look, I know I was late. Just do the same thing you always do. Don't worry about it. I don't want to mess up any of your time. I'm like, I appreciate it, but no, let's talk. What's on your mind? Because if you're saying that, something's in your mind. So she's like, well, I have a picture. I'm like, here we go. All right, show me your picture. She goes, oh, I got to find it.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
And she starts scrolling. 10 seconds later, she's still scrolling. 20 seconds goes by. She's still scrolling. And I'm just standing there. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Look, describe to me. What are you looking for? Oh, it's a haircut. What kind of haircut? Oh, I don't know. It's really fluffy and poofy, but it's movement, but it's not layered, but it's got a lot of movement. What? It's a bob, but it's not. Okay. I used to wear a bob when I was 20 years old. You're not 20 years old anymore. That was 20 something years ago. Kind of hair did you have back then? Oh, it was way thicker. Okay. Point is, We get into it with each other, and I'm telling her, look, just describe it to me while you're looking for your picture. I said, in the meantime, listen, I got to color your hair as it is. You got your outgrowth. Why don't I go mix up the color? Keep looking for your photo. Take your time. Don't worry about it. I'll come back, right? We'll do this, and that's it. 6 o'clock walks in. Hi, I'm here. Hey, come on over. As I'm starting to apply the color on my late client, talking to my 6 o'clock, I'm starting to do the consultation. She goes, oh, I think it's just a highlight tonight. I go, oh, it's not just a highlight. We actually do a specialty highlight on you. It's actually a reverse highlight. She goes, what's a reverse highlight? I go, you're 100% gray. It's 100% white. So I actually low light your hair. And I use your natural unpigmented hair, the grays, as highlights. It's called an optical illusion. So we actually only low light your hair. I don't actually bleach your hair. I don't lighten your hair. I don't do anything to your natural color at all. That's why when it starts growing out, it grows in so softly, so naturally. She goes, I get so many compliments. Oh my God. I was at brunch on Sunday and I'm thinking, ooh, it's time to come see you. And 3 women walked up to me and said they absolutely love my hair. And here's me all embarrassed that I got the outgrowth going on, right?
Right.
I go, but that's the whole point. That is exactly the whole point. I do a specialty service on you. It's not just a highlight. It's not your traditional highlight. So then she goes back and sits down. All right, give me a couple minutes. I'm just finishing up over here and I'll get you started. No worries. You want a cup of coffee, something? Yeah, sure. All right, we'll go make you one. Go sit down. Easy, taken care of. She doesn't have a problem with me running behind. She feels like I've addressed her at the time she walked in. I was respectful of her appointment time. I did her consultation with her. Now she's going to go sit and wait. Now I got my client sitting in the chair. She finally finds her picture. Okay, cool. The color that I'm doing on her is going to fit that new haircut that she's looking for. Perfect. Done. But that's not just any haircut. That is an inverted bub. It's freaking fun. Freaking fun. You love that haircut too, right?
I do love that haircut.
So that's not just your traditional easy run-of-the-mill haircut. That's an inverted bub. It's different. It's special. It's awesome. I pointed that out to her. She goes, ooh, she got even more excited about it than she already was. And then she goes, well, can I have any kind of special highlights like how she has? I go, in actuality, we do. We absolutely do. We do an overglaze on you. We don't just do highlighting on you. I do a traditional balayage and an overglaze on you. So you actually do have a specialty form of coloring as well. She goes, oh, that sounds cool. I have an overglaze, She's so now she's got a specialty haircut, a specialty color. This woman feels really special. I go, you are really special. And after a couple of seconds, she looks at me, she goes, hey. I'm like, well, you are that kind of special too, yes. But I meant, and we're just having a laugh. So now she doesn't feel bad about running late. She's satisfied, totally happy. At the end of it all, we're looking at this and we're going, look, you can do your traditional global application, your single process, and that's okay. And probably 80% of your clients are going to be that. But why not try to get from 80% down to 50%? And instead of only doing 20% special services, do half your services special, the other half of your services traditional. And now you have an opportunity to grow yourself phenomenally. If not for nothing, at a minimum, you start becoming a named stylist in your area. What is the power of being a named stylist in your area?
Are you asking?
I'm asking you. What is the power of being a named stylist in your area?
Well, number one is you become the go-to person. Number two, you then can charge what you want to charge.
And nobody blinks an eye.
No.
And they say thank you, and they tip you, and they rebook you.
100%. 100%. But
now,
so then
you do a crap ton of specialty services.
I live on crap. I do nothing but specialty services. But here's my question to you, and not to throw fuel on the fire. Where did it change for us where people are so scared to A, be late, and B, to not charge what they're worth?
It's
What happened?
it's a problem. It goes back. It goes back a number of years. We're gonna have to take a little story time, and I'm just gonna summarize it. I'm not gonna get too deep into it because that could be a whole nother thing dedicated to itself. Okay. 20, 30 years ago, there was only a handful of brands. Trends were only seasonal, 4 times a year. You either were with the trend or you weren't. It was pretty
Right.
simple, it was pretty straightforward. With the advent of social media and with the advent of influencers and with the advent of private labeling on products, there is so many things going on. Okay. And unfortunately, the industry shifted from education focused to sales focused. And when it shifted to sales focused, the education department started shrinking, started getting smaller. The artistry started becoming more commercialized and streamlined. And then it just became a pissing contest on who can do bigger, better, stronger, crazier, more out there. You know, the artistry got lost. And then it became an assembly line. And that's really the problem. And when it became to that level, you're only as good as being on time and getting somebody in and out and having competitive prices. Well, if you're going to try to have competitive prices, then you can't raise your price because then you're no longer competitive. You're expensive. And if you're worried about the artistry, then you're going to run behind. Then you're not on time anymore. Then you can't compete that way as well. Then if you can't fight everybody else, the assembly line mentality, you're not going to make it. Now you're a nervous wreck because you're taking a financial hit. And a lot of hairdressers got into that mode and they're terrified of their own shadow to the point where the client is literally dictating what the formula should be because the client went and looked it up on a forum somewhere or on a YouTube or on a TikTok or whatever the hell, it's called. And they're like, oh, I saw this. This is the formula. This is what I want. And the stylist, without even thinking, is that even going to match for your type of hair? They're just copying it verbatim because they're terrified of going against the grain and arguing about it. Well, it's not even arguing. It's being professional about it. Doing a proper consult. It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. So that's that's the summary gist of it all.
Yeah.
There's a lot more involved, but
to close out the rant, at least personally and over the past 2 years, changing the ball game for myself the way I did, it is about being creative. It is about servicing the client, and no longer is it an assembly line. Because for a while, yeah, I was in that. It's funny when you brought it up because I still remember, 15, 16 heads a day, churning and burning. And like we talked about last week, that's not sustainable. Your body can't do it. I have friends. People that I know, doing this all day. And now all of a sudden, they're like T-Rexes because, their shoulders are shot. I get it. You're 100%. You hit the nail on the head with this one big time today. So basically what we're saying, if I can paraphrase everything into together is bring back the artistry. And if you're doing specialty things for your clients, you can build that ticket up to where you're not killing yourself and you're making a really good living and you're having really happy clients and you're being rewarded across the board with what you're doing.
It's a good way to summarize it.
Um, so we have a product spotlight today, my friend.
We do. It's a fun one.
Um, it's a fun one. It is a nutraceutical, which Eddie will give us the definition of nutraceutical in a minute. Product that helps with hair loss, helps with shedding, actually will give you thicker, fuller hair. Am I missing anything yet?
Not yet.
Okay. And the name of that product is, Eddie.
Zenagen. Zenagen. Zenagen is been taking the industry by storm for the past 5 years. Well, longer actually, but I say this, especially this in particular, past 5 years has been. We've seen phenomenal growth in the brand and recognition, social recognition in the brand. So it's, I mean, everything they've been doing has just been great, absolutely fantastic, and I am so happy for them. I really, really am. It's a great, great product in that regards, in my opinion. Here's the thing about hair regrowth products. What are your options? You've got ingestible, so you could take pills, you could take supplements, you could take medications. Those exist, those still exist, those are a thing. You could take topicals, and topicals are going to come down to either frequency of use or some kind of steroid or something that's going to mimic some kind of a steroid. Okay. There are some products out there that are complete systems. There's like multiple steps involved. There are some that are pretty simplified. And then you've got the ingredient bases. There has been a shift. There has been a very strong active shift this past decade towards looking for things that are more gentle, more natural, more organic based, and trying to find that balance to be able to promote new hair growth or stimulate fullness, strength, elasticity, balancing the porosity. It's been a quest, a full-on quest to try to achieve these goals. So Zenagen in particular, being nutraceutical based, what that means is they're using medicinal herbs that actually have science research behind it that proves that these ingredients actually do something. If you have this ingredient, it will promote less irritation. If you have this ingredient, it will stimulate growth. This ingredient will stimulate strength. They have a full-blown list of ingredients that actually have medicinal uses to them. That is huge. And the way they extract these ingredients, they use cold press technology. And if you're not familiar what that means is, traditionally speaking, the most efficient way for a company for profit margins, and I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, I'm just saying this is what happens. A lot of companies, when they're going to use organic based ingredients, they will boil everything down to try to extract the natural ingredient. Okay? When you're doing that, you lose up to 80% of that ingredient. You're only extracting 20% of the good stuff. And that's acceptable by industry standards. Actually, even 20% is really high, because by the time then you refine it and it goes into the end product and it actually, you get to use it, you only have what? Like a percent left, 5% left, 10% left.
Yeah, like 10% left.
Yeah, you don't have a lot left afterwards, you know?
Right.
So with the cold press process, because you're not heating this up, you're actually retaining the majority. You're actually extracting. You can't say 100% to anything, but you are extracting damn near everything out of that, and that is huge.
And you're not breaking down a lot of the amino acids that are in most of these botanicals, because by boiling or heating, it breaks a lot of them down, where you're keeping those amino acids, and amino acids are very important
in this process. And by the time it gets into the end product, you have a very strong concentration of ingredients that actually matter. Okay? Now the trade-off is this. Zenagen works with frequency of use because it is topical. There is nothing that's being ingested, there's nothing that's being absorbed. It's rejuvenating the follicle on the scalp. Okay? And it's just sitting on the epidermis, the outer layer of the skin.
Right. Right. But so now with Zenagen, with their nutraceutical ingredients, it targets one of the biggest causes of hair loss, which is DHT, which is dehydrated testosterone. I'm correct, right? Okay.
Correct.
It's dehydrated testosterone, and it attacks that DHT, which is a very common cause of shedding, baldness, and things like that. And it helps reverse and remove that DHT, which keeps from the follicle basically being choked, right? It builds up in the follicle and it chokes the follicle. And then eventually, if you keep choking that follicle, what happens? Follicle dies. So what they've done is with their botanicals, with the special delivery system that they have within this product, it helps eliminate a lot of that DHT, which then causes the follicle to be healthier. You have healthy follicle, you have thicker, fuller hair, correct? So basically the same basis is like planting something. If you have good, healthy soil, that's going to be a nice, healthy plant. Same thing. I cannot sing the praises of Zenagen enough. I love Zenagen. And it's been amazing to watch Zenagen as a company, because when they first started out, there was just the Evolve, right?
Revolve.
Revolve. Sorry, Revolve. I stand corrected. We just started with the Revolve and the Serum. I still remember sitting in that class. I remember us looking at each other, and I went, "They are gonna kill it. They're gonna come out with all these awesome products." And slowly but surely, they have come out. Now, personal experience with Zenagen. Once again, not for me, because you can't grow anything on cement.
To that point, let me just add one thing to that point.
Okay.
This is the coolest thing about Zenagen, okay? You remember Mr. Clean?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking at somebody's head, at somebody's scalp, and if that area is glowing, if it's reflecting light, then it's pretty much safe to say that the pores have sealed themselves off. Okay? But if you're looking at that area and you can see pores, or you could see, like, I don't want to say dirty looking, but it's almost like something wants to grow, but it's just not growing.
Right.
You could do something about that.
Right.
That's the easiest selling point with Zenagen. There's no false promises being made. So I that's hilarious. You can't grow on cement.
But what I've noticed with it is, and with Erin, my wife, I got her on Zenagen, and we augment her. She's a natural redhead, and we augment her color with you know. I've been noticing that her reds are actually staying a little longer, and the vibrancy, we're actually keeping a little bit more of the vibrancy, where, I used to, back in the day before she realized that I was actually full of it, I'd be like, "Oh, your color still looks good." And I'd walk her over to the front window and I'd look, see, it's still red. But
you gotta look at it in the light. You gotta get
exactly,
the sun.
Look at it,
you gotta get
exactly.
the sun.
Exactly. Look at it in the light. Because, in the bathroom, she's like, "It's browning out." I'm like, "No. Come here. And I whip out the hand mirror and I'm like, "What?" I can't get away with that anymore because she knows I'm kind of full of crap. Because really, the last people in the world whose hair we want to be doing is family members. But now with Zenagen, I've really noticed, and she's actually, her hair has thickened up a little bit. and she's gotten more, but she's religious about it. She does it 3 times a week, and it sits for 5 minutes each time. She follows it. And then that cool brush that they have, the stimulator.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Darren gave me one of those, and she's in there, I'm getting a little jealous. Shouldn't I be the one rubbing her head? But she's in there, and I mean, she's religious about it, and it's made. I mean, I look at her brush. I always check her brush, and her brush is not even as loaded up as it used to be. Because once a month I used to have to go and take the brush cleaner to it, and then and I'd pull off a Wookie. So I don't laugh. Don't laugh. Well, you have a long, Karn's hair probably is
Carmelina. I would have to snake the tub every week because there would just be like a cat down there. There would be like a fur ball or hair ball down there. Like it didn't matter how much she would scoop up and collect afterwards after getting done taking a shower. There was just that much more would just be going down the drain.
Right.
I got her on the Zenagen Evolve because she's not experiencing hair loss. She doesn't need to grow new hair. She just is experiencing shedding. So the Revolve would help with that. But the Evolve, she's still young enough where she hasn't hit menopause yet. She's not experiencing loss. She's experiencing shedding, and she wants to grow her hair longer as well too, right? So the Evolve will help with that. So since I got her on there, I only have to do the tub once a month now instead of once a week. That is huge. That is very significant.
So then the difference between the Revolve and Evolve.
Mm-hmm. Revolve is going to promote new hair growth. Evolve is going to promote sustainability for longer hair. Okay. Now, people say to me all the time, well, then I should use both because I want to have new hair. I want to have more hair. Excuse me. And I want to have longer hair as well, too. Excuse me. And the answer is yes, you do. But address the issue one at a time. Don't try to do too much all at once. Address the issue one at a time. So what that means is this. Generally speaking, and I'm very much generalizing because in class, we go into a lot more details about this. We don't have enough time on here. Generally speaking, once somebody hits 40 years old and older, in a woman, the estrogen level tanks. In a man, the testosterone level tanks, okay? And when you lose your testosterone, when you lose your estrogen, the other one raises up. So in a male, when you lose the production of the testosterone, then it's just not cycling fast enough to push out the buildup. And that's why the buildup starts compiling and packing up. In a woman, they start losing their estrogen, then the testosterone level starts catching up. That's where, women, as they start aging, they feel like they start getting hairier. It's not because, it's because their estrogen level is dropping. Because in their youth, it's suppressing the testosterone, cycling. It's still cycling, but it suppresses it. So with that said, as the testosterone builds up, the dehydrated testosterone builds up, DHT, it starts choking out the hair shaft. A lot of products will just clarify and cleanse that out. But the problem is, if it's getting choked out, if the hair shaft's getting choked out, then you can't get nutrition into the follicle. Then the follicle starts becoming inflamed. And if it starts becoming inflamed, then it can't grow, it can't produce because it's not healthy anymore. So Zenagen actually addresses the core issue. It's not a band-aid fix. It actually addresses the core issue with what's happening. So with that said, if hair loss is an issue, fix that issue first. Once you get your follicle stabilized, where it's healthy again, and it's producing hair in its maximum capacity again, then you switch over to the Evolve. Because everybody, like when somebody says, I can never grow my hair past this length. What is that? That dead weight, that dead length?
Yeah.
The follicle is not strong enough. Gravity is pulling too hard, and it's just not strong enough to support hair length beyond whatever that dead weight is.
Mhm.
This is where Evolve comes in. It helps. It's like a workout coach. It helps that follicle get stronger. So now it's like, Arnold, I will pump you up.
Right.
It's like,
Hello.
right. And then it becomes stronger. So now you can get hair longer than whatever that length was that you couldn't get past before.
Right.
Now, these treatments, the Revolve and the Evolve, are very topical. And because they're topical, they rely on frequency of use. You got to use it every other day. So it's like every second day, you got to massage it onto your scalp, leave it on for 5 minutes. The reason why you leave it on for 5 minutes is because of that delivery system that you were talking about earlier. The scalp will only absorb topically what it wants. If you're using too much of it, that's why we only say you only need like a fingertip amount. It's very concentrated. If it's sudsing up on you, then you're using too much because it's rejecting the rest of it. It's only going to absorb topically what it wants. And that's it. So every other day, 5 minutes, that's all you need. That's the Revolve and the Evolve. They do have a scalp serum, a hair serum, where you could do spot treatments if you're having issues. They also have an eyelash and eyebrow. It's called ProLash. It works for eyelashes and eyebrows. They have a Repairical leave-in conditioner spray. So if you don't want to do the treatment for your scalp, but you want to help the rest of your hair, that's that Repairical spray.
And it's actually an awesome detangler too.
And it actually is. Yeah, you're right. It's an amazing detangler. And then you've got the Boost styling products that are all water soluble. They're not alcohol based. They're not heavy ingredient based. They're very lightweight, but they got enough hold to do what somebody needs. And if you have somebody with thinner, finer hair, this is an amazing option. And if you have somebody with thicker hair, coarser hair, maybe they don't want to feel product buildup in their hair, because somebody with thicker, coarser hair, it takes them so much time to style their hair that they're not apt to washing their hair on a regular basis. They want to go 2 or 3 days. Well, they don't want all that product gunk building up. So even for thicker, coarser hair, it's a viable option. So they have a full selection encompassing all issues for all hair types. It's that's what's awesome. Oh, they have a new product now too. I forgot real quick. Eclipse, anti-aging treatment for hair. An anti-aging treatment for hair. What that means is, if you're in the beginning stages of graying, this can help reduce or potentially reverse. That's amazing. It's an amazing breakthrough in technology.
And it's sulfate free. For those of you that do other sorts of treatments on your hair,
and sodium chloride free as well. Safe for hair extensions and keratin smoothing treatments as well.
Yep. That you stole it from me. So that's Zenagen. For the since we're on the Hairs the Bling, we're with HTB Beauty. It's available through HTB. Give Darren a call. He'll get you your starter set of Zenagen out. Your clients will love you for it. So we're coming to our last segment here, my friend.
We have a Zenagen class on February 12th, Monday, February 12th, starting at 10 a.m. We're going to be hosting it in Elgin at our distribution center. We have a classroom in there at our learning studio, the HTB Learning Studio. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the link in the description below. That'll take you to our class page. You could sign up from there, or you can call our offices and we can definitely help you out, get you registered for that program. So that's the main class that we have coming up. This upcoming Monday, the 29th, we have a we have a Melina class. We have a Melina class on Monday.
Heard. Yes, we do.
That's your baby. That's
my baby.
About the most.
Am I allowed to mention it since we just pumped another one?
No, we're talking about classes.
Okay, we're talking about classes. Molina, guys, come to the Molina class.
So give a quick 30-second elevator pitch for the class.
Uh, the class will introduce you to vegan, formaldehyde-free smoothing and restructuring of the hair. Is the quickest 30 seconds I can give you. Small, compact product line from Brazil will change the way your clients feel about their hair and the way you feel about doing that service because you're doing it 100% safe.
Oh, cool. You are so excited about it.
I am. I'm
so
pumped.
Excited about it.
I'm pumped. When you put Molina in my hand, I mean, I do at least one boost treatment a day, which has built my tickets even that much more. But once again, that when we circle back to Molina, we'll get deep into it. But come to the class, sign up for the class. You will love it. You will love it. And how are you going to motivate us today, Mr. O'Hanlon?
I was actually going to ask you, what is your one homework assignment for this week for a stylist? What can a stylist do behind the chair under the guise of psychotherapy, heresy?
Psychotherapy. Here's my homework assignment for our Hairs the Bling followers. Okay, we want to hear from you. Number one, let's hear from you. Focus on taking one client a day and turning them from a humdrum service into a specialty service, like we were talking about. Take one client a day, just one client, and move them up to the next level. Build one ticket a day for this week, and then we'll get into. I'll give you, where we're going to go with this. Then 2 the following week, a day, 3, and I want to hear about what your numbers look like. I don't want to know the numbers exactly. I just want to hear what your numbers look like, and if it's really you feel that it's helping you. That's what I want to hear. I also want. I'm also asking everybody, click that like button. Follow us. Don't listen to Eddie and click it twice. Just click it once. And we also give us some feedback. What else do you guys want to hear about from us? We have a ton of products that we're going to bring to you, but what other subjects would you like us to touch on, to talk about, and maybe even interact with you about? So that's where I'm at. Now, give me my motivational quote for the week.
All right, here's my homework assignment, okay? We all know how long something generally takes. What do I mean by that? You go to get a cup of coffee. You know it's going to take about a minute or two. You go to a movie. You know it starts at 7 o'clock. And it's about a 90-minute nowadays it's 3 hours long movies. You go to the doctor. You know you're going to be there all day. You go to get a hair service. You know it's going to take about an hour or two. Okay? So generally speaking, you know how long things generally take, but you don't know exactly for how long you're going to be there. All right? So my homework assignment is this. Stop telling your clients your appointment's at 4 and you'll be done by 5. Start telling your clients your appointment time starts at 4. Get here by 4 o'clock. I'm just using arbitrary time, 4 o'clock. I went to go watch a movie. Started at 7:30. The movie didn't start playing till 8 o'clock. I had to watch 30 minutes of nonsense. And it was utter garbage. Nonsense trailers and whatever the hell was going on, okay? Carmelina wanted Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know how long a coffee generally takes, a minute or two. They were running behind. They were backed up in the drive-thru. I was sitting in there for 10 minutes, bored out of my damn mind, until I got to the window and got her coffee. That sucked. Oh well. Another time I go to Dunkin' Donuts. I go to the drive-thru. By the time I get from the place the order, by the time I get to the window, they're already handing me the cup. I'm like, man, was this somebody else's? Like, did you not make this fresh? That was too fast, you know? Point is, Same thing like I was saying about last night. When your clients come in, you dictate how that experience goes. And if you're freaking out about the time, then they're freaking out about the time. And if they're used to you freaking out about the time, then they're going to be holding you to it like a commissar. Okay? And it's just not comfortable for anybody involved. Not for the client sitting in your chair, not for your desk support if you have a front desk person, and not for the next client, coming in demanding that they be taken because they showed up. So your homework assignment for this week is to start dictating the speed and the expectation. The expectation is not you showed up at this time, therefore your appointment immediately starts at this time. Your expectation is I want you to be here by this time and ready for me to get you started when I get you started. I know I'm saying something crazy and scary to a lot of you, but to the some of you that understand this and appreciate this, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. And to the majority of you that say, I'm being disrespectful because if I tell somebody their time starts now, I should be ready for them. Yeah, I agree with you. You should be ready for them. But life happens. So how do you handle it when life happens? I'm not trying to give an excuse to run late on anybody and everybody. What I am saying is, if you do happen to be running late on somebody, don't make a big production out of it. Focus your time on giving it respectfully and properly to the person at a time. And finish them, don't rush them. And when the next person comes, don't start rushing them to get them into your chair. Whenever you are ready for that next person, regardless of how late you've ran for them, treat it as they just showed up and treat it as that appointment just started, and take your time and do what you need to do. If you can cut a corner here and there and catch up, so be it. But don't rush it and don't cut those corners on purpose. You'll feel a lot better. You'll be a lot more relaxed.
Don't short service your clients. 100%.
Don't service your client. Then you won't be like a shivering chihuahua. Because those things are a nervous wreck, right? Don't be a chihuahua. Be a big old grand, be a golden retriever. They're so cute. And they just want a hug. They just want attention. And everybody loves the little suckers.
And if any of you ever see Eddie, just give him a hug.
Give me a hug.
And a cookie.
And a milkshake. Vanilla milkshake.
And
all right, sign us off. We're out of here.
Once again, guys, thanks for being here with us. Smash that like button. Follow us on Facebook. Also follow us here on YouTube. We're going to be branching out, hopefully sooner or later, to other venues to get our message out there. We appreciate every one of you, and keep that education going, guys. Thank you very much.